Alright boys and girls, I hope you're having a lovely day, okay? Today guys, I want to talk about Yakuza, okay? I have played this game for the very first time, and I wanted to give you guys my opinions on it. Now, it's not my very first Yakuza game, that's a whole different story. I have played plenty of Yakuza games, okay? But this is the first time that I've ever played the original. The first time I played a Yakuza game, guys, was years and years and years ago. I would have been about sort of 14 or 15, I think, and I played Yakuza 3. I really enjoyed it. I didn't play through the entire thing, but I really had a good time with it, but I was so confused by the story. Obviously, one of the big reasons that people love the Yakuza games is the story, okay? The story in all of the Yakuza games is usually one of the best aspects, and jumping in into the third installment is never like the best idea when it comes to the story of games, alright? You want to start from, you know, the first one, obviously. But when I picked up Yakuza 3, I didn't know it was going to be like some big story-driven thing. I just saw it and thought, oh, that looks cool. It looks very Japanese. It looks a little bit like GTA. Let me give that a go. That was kind of the impression I got, was like a Japanese GTA.
A clue what's going on here, but I'll act like I do.
So yeah, as much as I did enjoy Yakuza 3, the game that really got me into Yakuza was Yakuza 0. When I played Yakuza 0, I was in, guys. I was in all the way. I absolutely adore Yakuza 0. I think it's one of the best games ever made. And from that point onwards, guys, I was all in on the Yakuza series, okay? I loved it so much. So I've since played Yakuza Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2, Yakuza 3, like all the way through. I've beaten the whole thing. And of course, Yakuza 4. I've not played Yakuza 5, 6, Like a Dragon, and there's a few other spin-off ones I haven't played. Played a little bit of Dead Souls. That was weird, but you know, it wasn't that bad. But we'll talk about all of those other Yakuza games another day, guys. Today, we are strictly talking about Yakuza 1 for the PS2, and I will also be talking about Yakuza Kiwami, because I have already played this game, and I kind of want to use that as a comparison, if you like. So yeah, when it comes to playing the original Yakuza, guys, it's an absolutely fantastic game on its own. If you just take this game as it is, absolutely amazing game, especially for the time. Like, this being the very first Yakuza game, it's absolutely brilliant. The gameplay's still pretty decent, not the best in the series, but it's not bad. The story is fantastic, and it's still Yakuza at the end of the day. You can't really go wrong with a Yakuza game. You're still gonna have fun with this game. If I'd never ever played Yakuza Kiwami, guys, I would be absolutely in love with this original game. But because I've played Kiwami, I know that this game is inferior, if that makes sense. I still enjoyed it. It was still fun, but I know Kiwami's better.
This is brilliant. But I like this.
So let's get the obvious things out of the way, guys, okay? The first thing about this game that I wasn't really a big fan of was the English dub. Now, this is kind of notorious, okay, the English dub, because a lot of people take the piss out of it, and I get it, okay, because it's kind of funny. In Yakuza Kiwami, guys, there's no English dub, okay? You've literally just got the Japanese dub with English subtitles, okay? And it sounds fantastic, okay? I love the way the voice actors are in Yakuza Kiwami. It's just awesome. In the original Yakuza, though, guys, there is no Japanese dub, okay? It's literally just an English dub. It's not good though, okay? It's really, really not good. The lip syncing is completely off, okay? They don't even really attempt to sync it up, so it kind of reminded me of like the Squid Game English dub, which was terrible.
Sir, are you okay? I just pissed myself.
There's a ridiculous amount of swearing for some reason. I don't know why. Every character says fuck and shit every single sentence in this game. It made me laugh a few times, but yeah, it just sounded off. It's a bit like that SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob and Patrick learn the bad words behind the dumpster. So they walk into the Krusty Krab and it's like, hey, Mr. Krabs, how the fuck are ya? Yeah, I'm doing very fucking well, Patrick. Yeah, it was a bit like that. There's one part in the game where Kiryu meets Yuya, and honestly, it's one of the funniest exchanges I've ever heard. I was literally crying with laughter. It was so funny, okay? The English dub definitely has its moments, but not because it's good, but because it's funny.
Relax. I didn't come here to fight. I just want to talk to Kazuki.
Shut the fuck up! Just because you're a Yakuza doesn't mean you can boss everyone around. Even in this city, people do just fine. Without any help from the fucking Yakuza, they make an honest living. Unlike you. At least Kazuki-san has made a name for himself without any help. You fucking Yakuza! Don't fuck with Kazuki-san!
How many times I gotta tell you, I'm not Yakuza. You retarded or just deaf.
But honestly, guys, like, of all the characters in the game, I did like the voice acting for one character, and that is Majima. Majima sounds fantastic in this game for some reason. Like, he's the only character that I was like, yeah, that voice acting is good. There's this part in the game where Majima decides to kidnap Haruka, and they're at the batting cages, so Kiryu meets with Majima, and they're about to fight and everything, and the voice acting with Majima was so just unhinged. He reminded me of the Joker. It sounded a bit like the Joker from, like, the, you know, Mark Hamill Joker from, like, you know, Batman Animated. It had a really, you know, it fit really well.
This is the part where you're supposed to laugh. You stupid motherfucker!
So yeah, on the whole, guys, the English voice acting, it's definitely not good. Alright, it was pretty bad overall. The swearing was just ridiculous, but it had its moments. It made me laugh, and like I said, Majima, I thought was good. Now, the one aspect of this game that I do actually prefer to Kiwami has to be the soundtrack, okay? The soundtrack of Yakuza 1 is better, in my opinion, okay? I really like the songs in this game just a slight bit more. Like, if you take the song Son of a Gun, for example, that sounds infinitely better in the original. I absolutely love how it sounds in this game. Not that it sounds bad in Kiwami, but I just prefer the PS2 version. Funk goes on as well, I do prefer in the original. Now, when it comes to the Yakuza series, guys, one thing that is very prevalent in pretty much all of the Yakuza games is the random street encounters, okay? As you're going through the cities of these games, you'll always just bump into people that want to start fights, okay? You'll just be minding your own business, and then some homeless guy will be like, what do you call my grandma? And then all of a sudden, you're in a street fight, and you're picking up bikes and beating the shit out. Like, it's just classic Yakuza gameplay, okay? You come to expect it, okay? You can't walk 5 meters without having a fight in these games. But when it comes to the original Yakuza, guys, I swear there is way more random encounters in this game than any other Yakuza. I was starting fights with literally every single person on the street in this game, and I didn't mind at first, but it did start to grow tiresome towards the end of the game. I was like, can you guys just leave me the fuck alone, alright? I've had enough fighting for one day. It's really hard to run away from people in this game. You just feel so much slower in Yakuza 1 than you do in Kiwami and the other games, alright? In those games, you're just way quicker. So yeah, I was just fighting people all the time because I couldn't run away. I was trying, but it just wouldn't work. Thankfully, the gameplay in Yakuza is still very decent, okay? It's very solid. I do prefer Kiwami's fighting. It's just better. Like, it's the Yakuza 0 fighting engine. Like, it is just better. You've got the 4 different fighting styles. You've got a way better upgrade system in Kiwami, so the gameplay is definitely better with Kiwami, but it's still decent in this game, okay? It's still fun. At the end of the day, any video game that lets you pick up a bicycle and beat people up with them is fun in my books, but it did get a little bit just too much, you know? Like, it just happened way too often. You genuinely couldn't walk 5 meters in this game without without someone trying to fight you. It was kind of ridiculous. Now, when it comes to the Yakuza series, guys, as much as I love these games, it's not perfect, okay? And there's definitely a few things that I do not love about it. I have a pet peeve or two with the Yakuza games, okay? And one of my biggest pet peeves has got to be when the game just doesn't tell you where to go. Like, there'll be no waypoint, and you kind of got to figure out where you're supposed to go. It drives me nuts. Like, if you take Chapter 8, for example, that chapter I absolutely hated because I just didn't know where to freaking go, and I spent half the time just figuring it out, you know? And in the end, I just gave up and looked at a walkthrough because it was driving me nuts. And I've got a feeling it's the same in Kiwami. I don't even think they changed it with the remake. I think it drove me nuts in that game as well. But yeah, I hate it when the game just doesn't tell you where to go and you're just on this wild goose chase. It annoys me, okay? It's my pet peeve with all the Yakuza games. It's the one thing that I wish they would change. Just give me a waypoint, okay? Tell me where I'm supposed to go. I hate getting lost in video games. It's my big thing. I just do not like it, and Yakuza does it a few times. It drives me insane. It's a personal thing, you know, some people maybe like it. I don't know how you would, but yeah, I just didn't like that. Another thing I wasn't really a big fan of with Yakuza 1, guys, was the lack of Majima. Alright, Majima's my favorite character in all of Yakuza. Any extra Majima, I'm happy with. I love me some Majima. And in Kiwami, he's in it a lot. Alright, he'll just randomly turn up and just start fighting you. He'll be just in the most random of places. You'll be walking down the road and Majima will be dressed up as a police officer, and then all of a sudden you're fighting Majima, alright? And that happens a lot. lot, and he just really wasn't in Yakuza PS2. He was in it a little bit, you know, he has a few scenes, obviously, but he's not in it that much, so I was a little bit depressed by that, because, like I said, I love Majima, so any extra Majima, I'm happy with, and yeah, I was sad that that wasn't a thing that was in this game. So yeah, the only other thing I need to talk about, guys, with Yakuza PS2 is the story. Now, as far as I can tell, and I haven't played Kiwami in a long time, so I might be wrong about this, but I feel like the story is pretty much identical to Kiwami. I don't know any changes from the two games, like significant changes at least. It was quite literally the same story that was in Kiwami, I'm pretty sure. I was expecting a few core changes, but no, it's pretty faithful when it comes to story, Kiwami, okay? They didn't change a great deal in this game. When it comes to the story of Yakuza 1, guys, I really like it, okay? I love the story of Yakuza 1, or at least the main, like, sort of storyline. There are a few subplots that, you know, aren't the best. There are a lot of moments in this game that feel like they're just sort of there to pad the game out a little bit and just aren't as interesting as the main storyline. But when it comes to the missing 10 billion and the entire story revolving around Haruka and Yumi, really good stuff, okay? I really like the overall story in Yakuza 1. It's very heartfelt, it's very emotional at times, and I really enjoyed it. When it comes to the characters of Yakuza 1, I love pretty much all the characters in this game, okay? Kiryu is the absolute GOAT. I love Majima, of course. Haruka is just the sweetest little girl ever. Nishiki as well is a great character. You've got the florist. There's some really great characters in Yakuza 1.
I can't believe you forgot me.
I said, I'm sorry.
You forgot me!
And obviously quite a few of those characters are in the future games as well, so yeah, really love the story of Yakuza 1 on the whole. So yeah, when it comes to Yakuza 1, guys, I think that's pretty much it, okay? On the whole, I think, like I said, on its own, this game is absolutely fantastic, okay? The gameplay's fun, the story's really good. Yeah, the voice acting is not amazing, but, you know, it was funny, so I can't hate on it. But yeah, I think the trouble is that when I compare it side by side with Kiwami, Kiwami is just better. It's just an infinitely better game. It just improves on so many aspects. The gameplay in Kiwami is better, the graphics are obviously better. They added in those Majima encounters, and of course it doesn't have that terrible English dub, so I do definitely prefer Kiwami, but like I said, I still loved Yakuza, you know, 1. It's still goated. I just love this series, okay? Literally every single Yakuza game I really enjoy. Like, there's a lot of people I see online that will hate on different Yakuza games. I'm like, there's not a bad game in the series in my eyes. Like, literally every single game, even the worst ones, even Dead Souls, which is like unanimously hated, I don't even think it's that bad. I just love all of these games, guys. They're absolutely nuts half of the time, but at the same time, they're so heartfelt and they've got such amazing emotional stories. So I really, really love the Yakuza series, and Yakuza 1 is no exception. It's probably my least favorite game that I've played, at least in the mainline series, but I still think it's a fantastic game. The only thing I need to do now, though, guys, is check out Yakuza 2, because I've heard that Kiwami 2 is not quite as faithful as Kiwami 1 was, so I'm really curious how Yakuza 2 differs. But yeah, let me know in the comments, guys, have you played the original Yakuza game, or have you played any Yakuza games? Do let me know in the comments how you feel about this series. Other than that, though, boys and girls, subscribe here if you're new, and I'll see you guys next one, alright? Peace.